Let's get started. Hey everyone, so I'm Tesla Herbert, and today we have Robert Scoble with us. And we're going to be talking about a topic that I'm very excited about, TeslaBot. I know it's a topic that many of you are excited about as well, and we're very fortunate that we have one of the few people in this world who has his pulse not only on the bleeding edge developments of bots, but also spatial computing and just technology in general. And as we'll hear, these three disciplines are all kind of merging together in accelerated speed, and they're required for bot development. So when Robert was at Microsoft in 2003, I was a big fan even way back then. And he became, as The Economist put it, a minor celebrity for geeks around the world. I think
It was
you're
the
no
same
longer
person.
just a minor celebrity, but it's still for geeks, right?
Yeah,
So
if somebody recognizes me in the street, it's almost always a geek.
it's a,
It's always somebody who watches Leo Laporte and is totally nerding out every night. Or calling in our Twitter Spaces. It's crazy.
so
Yeah.
Robert, many of us know him for his blog, Scoblelizer. He's an author of 4 books. He's best known for his interviews, his early peaks. He somehow gets himself in all these scoops for the most exciting startups in the world. He's one of the most foremost experts in spatial computing. So that's virtual reality, augmented reality, um, mixed reality. What's that?
Any, I say it's any computing that you move through, or your robot. A robot's an
Okay,
autonomous,
well, we're
or
gonna dig deep. That's why I'm so excited to have you here. And
you're gonna have a virtual being soon that's running around your floors.
that's that's not just a Roomba, right?
Oh, whatever you want it to be.
This is gonna
And
be
the
so
world is
cool.
about to really flip. This is a big, big, big wave of new.
I That's why I'm excited about this. I'm going to do a whole series on bots and bot experts, and you're my first to come in, because just a week ago I saw that you published a YouTube channel, a YouTube video that you had an exclusive look inside giant AI robotics.
Yeah,
Love that video. People should check out. So welcome, Robert.
thank you.
Thank you so
And
much.
the guy who
Awesome. Yeah.
deserves the credit for that is Adrian Kaler, who
Mm.
built the computer vision system for the first Stanford autonomous vehicle that won the DARPA Grand Challenge. Right, wrote
What year was that?
in the
Yes.
80s. In the 80s, he's been doing computer vision a long time. He wrote the book that they still use at computer science labs all over the
Yeah.
world to teach computer vision. He started the core software team at Magic Leap, which is an augmented reality company, which is
Yes.
just got won Best of Show at AWE 2 weeks ago. And now he's building a robot company with the latest AI possible. So yeah, he's a real
Yeah.
interesting. There's not many people who've
Very
done.
intelligent. I love that video. He was very, very sharp. And like you just mentioned, though, his background was actually Magic Leap, or even like way back then, and then now computer vision, Magic Leap, and now for cars, Magic Leap, and then now bots.
And he
Right.
says they're all tied.
Right.
He says there's a reason that he's built robots, autonomous cars, and augmented reality glasses, right? Because they're all tied together by the technology and inside the brain.
So what's your opinion? Because obviously your spatial computing, that's been your area for the last, I don't know, 6 years or something like that. What's your
Yeah.
thought about that? Yeah.
The, so there's been 3 eras of AI so far, right? Siri was the first app that consumers saw that had AI in it, and Siri. Everybody knows the flaws of Siri, right? It doesn't understand my son, so it's not accessible. You can talk to us, Apple. We'll give you the voice data so you can fix that, right? In AI. Two, um, it doesn't learn very fast.
Hmm.
And Siri, I had dinner with the guy who ran Siri 6 years ago at Apple, and he said we already know it doesn't learn fast enough because
Hmm.
Google is learning faster than we are. They knew this 6 years ago. And I said, why do you know that? And he goes, well, we instrumented both us and Google, and we're watching how fast they're learning, and they're learning at a faster rate, which means they're going to win
Okay.
everything because exponents
Yeah.
go really nuts and take over everything, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, yeah, when you start talking with these guys and start realizing where the problems are, first version of AI was this very inflexible. Siri actually spit out, when you uttered something to it, it spit out 50 lines of code that were hand coded by
Mm,
Apple, or
okay.
by Siri Corporation back then.
Right.
And it wasn't very flexible. For instance, my favorite question I keep asking these guys to fix is, how many people are checked in at the Half Moon Bay Ritz Carlton on
Mm,
Foursquare?
mm,
Foursquare has an answer to that question, actually. There is an
mm,
answer.
mhm.
You can go to
Yeah.
Foursquare and see how many people are checked in right now, and be none or
Right.
one or two. And it
Right.
has an API, but Siri, because it's hand coded, doesn't hook up to the
Gotcha.
API and doesn't answer the question, and it fails over to
Okay.
go big and give you a stupid answer, right?
Mm,
And so it's really frustrating because it keeps doing this failover all the time and it doesn't give you good answers. Google gives you way better answers because they have all the data from all the searches ever made by humans, and they have
mhm.
all sorts of technology to make that useful. So I have a Google in my Sonos. It's always listening.
Yeah. So that
Hey
you said that's
Google,
the
are you
first.
listening? Oh, it's too low.
Not, so
Too
that's
low.
the first. You said the first stage of AI.
Yeah, the second stage is it's starting to learn faster. So you
Hmm.
saw a whole range of companies, like Waymo and Cruise, and Zoox is even a little bit later stage. But you see a progression. If you saw a map of when these things were started, you see a
Yeah.
progression.
Mm,
And the middle stage is sort of this in between where it's starting to learn faster. It's a little bit more flexible, but it still doesn't fix all the problems, right?
mm,
And now we're in a stage of AI where the AI people brag, I can drive
mm,
down a street I've never been down before, right?
mhm.
Which is the Tesla system. And the way to make that system work, okay, so Waymo and Zoox
Cruise,
and
Zeus.
Cruise,
Hmm.
they're all up in San Francisco. They don't leave San Francisco. They don't go across
Yeah.
Golden Gate Bridge. That's why I go
Right.
out to the Golden Gate Bridge and watch, like, I count cars out there. I just sit out there and watch how many cars. There's a Tesla every 10 seconds going across the Golden Gate
Yeah.
Bridge, which is really mind blowing. And everybody else has a geofence. It can't go to the Golden Gate, across the Golden Gate Bridge, right?
Hmm.
Because their AI doesn't learn fast enough. They have to go down the street and scan it, the neighborhood, and scan it, and do a lot of work to make the map all work, all
Hmm.
memorized for the device.
Right.
Um, the Tesla one, like, doesn't assume that at all. It's trying to figure out how to navigate down the street without ever have been down the street like a human being can, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, I've driven all over America, and I can drive on any. I can even drive backwards in Cork, Ireland, on the wrong
Wow. Yeah.
lane, on the wrong side of the
Right.
street, right? Which is very hard to cognitively fight,
Yeah.
right? Because you learn to drive on the right so hard. But even there, you learn to drive down a street you've never been down pretty quick.
Yeah.
And that was Tesla's philosophy: is we should be able to learn what a human is seeing and react just like a
Yeah.
human being.
Yeah. So
And it's
Tesla
coming true.
has yeah. Elon says that Tesla has the real world AI, the ability to recognize um, people and cars, and there's even like a big dog and a small dog, stop signs, trees.
It's
You've done a
crazy. I
lot
mean,
of work.
let me talk about it. I was just at that Muir Woods with my family, and I turn on
Oh,
full self driving because I have the beta
yeah.
now, so I'm using it for everything.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm coming around a street that curves, and at the end of the curve is a stop van with its blinkers on, and there's a kid barfing next to the van.
Yeah.
Obviously, the parents had to get him out of the van as fast as possible, stopped in a bad space. My Tesla is going 30 miles an hour, comes around the turn and goes, pulls around it and goes right into it
Yes.
because it's
It
just
does a good
looking,
job doing that. Yeah.
holy shit. I'm like, that's exactly what I would have
Does.
done, but it did it so
Exactly.
fast and so
Yeah.
smoothly. And
Yeah.
wow, man, never,
So,
yeah,
so
it's
Tesla real world AI can recognize items. When you spent
yeah,
work with the mixed reality, AR reality, can
yeah,
it do that now? Is any company can do that? Didn't you one time say that you can put your iPhone with its lidar, point it against a fridge, open it up, it'll recognize a Coke can?
yeah.
Are they in? How are they able to do real world AI too using a phone? and
Yeah,
AR glasses?
it's not far away. I mean, from both companies. I mean,
Hmm.
Elon might push if we were having a conversation with Elon right now, he might go, "Oh no, I'm not doing AR glass. I think that's a stupid idea, right?
Right.
We're going to do the glass because
Yeah.
you, you, I, that's how entertainment's going to be done, and he cares about how entertainment's going to be done because he has all
So wait,
the names of
so
Tesla.
pause for a second. You think that Elon Tesla is going to do an AR glasses? Because I actually believe the
Also,
same
I know
thing.
he's hiring up to do them.
The reason I've been saying that for a while is
Yeah.
that the reason why FSD beta is able to succeed so well for so long is because they have millions and millions of cars with millions of billions of cars, visual data to be able to feed into the neural networks. How, if you're creating a bot, don't you need as many videos as possible, whether it's a factory or the home? How are you going to do that? And so I thought they're either going to have AR glasses and
Well,
people walking
at
around that
Volkswagen, they
maps
already
everything.
digitized their entire factory floor, a huge
Who
floor.
did? Sorry. Yeah.
Volkswagen. And they're not alone.
Volkswagen. Okay.
Many factory floors have been digitized and turned into a virtual machine for training purposes and for
Hmm.
safety and for reorganizing the machine when you need to reorganize it and figure out how to do
Hmm.
that efficiently. And they're looking for efficiencies on the workers too. How do you get parts closer to them quicker so
Hmm.
that you can make supply chains work more efficiently? So they're all digitized. They're getting
Yeah.
digitized quick.
So okay. So let's go back to bots again. So you went and visited this Giant AI. Tell me about Giant AI. What they're doing.
Yeah.
Would you consider one of the leaders in the space? What's
Yeah,
happening?
in terms of AI, they're ahead of Tesla right now. If you look at it the wrong way,
Mm, okay.
and they know that, right? So they started this company because robots before this were inflexible, were had to be made very precise because they were inflexible, so that they
Hmm.
moved their hands or their grippers to the exact right location on a machine,
Hmm.
right, or on
Hmm.
a thing that is being, you know, milled or whatever. And
Hmm.
those robots were very expensive and you couldn't be adapted to new jobs very quickly, right?
Hmm.
Once you trained it to do one thing, you expected it to live there for 30 years building the same thing over
Yeah.
and over and over and over again. The new strategy is to come up with consumer level parts like your motors, your arm, your torso is all built out of a 3D printer. So low
Wow.
cost,
Hmm.
industry open, small things that are lightweight that can do a job.
Hmm.
And the problem with using cheap equipment to make the price come down is the robot arm will overshoot sometimes, like a job,
Hmm.
bottle or
Hmm.
a can or something or a screw. It'll go
Yeah.
too far. The the magic of having modern AI is it recovers from mistakes very quickly, figures out the arm went too far and pulls it back, just like a human being does, right? We
Hmm.
overshoot. If we pick up this iPhone, my hand sometimes overshoots the iPhone, and we humans figure out how to, without even really thinking about it, just smoothly get it back on path and pick up your iPhone.
Hmm.
Um, this new AI does that, and it also comes with a benefit. If you're a worker and you have this robot, you can teach it a new job in, let's call it, 6 times. You show it how to fold
Hmm.
laundry 6 times, and then it can fold laundry. And it's doing
Hmm.
it visually by seeing everything you saw.
Hmm.
It's using eyes that are seeing in neural radiance fields, and it's using the latest computer vision techniques to see everything and be able to fold it up. So this this new AI lets them use cheaper parts to get the price down, but also
Hmm.
makes it easier for a human to train. And so you're going to see it used for a lot of random, interesting jobs that a robot needs to do an hour a week or something like
Mhm, mhm, mhm. So they have the ability to, you said, as neural radiance vision. So that is that also the same thing as I can see a Coke can, I can see a water ball, and I know it is a water ball, and I see it's your hand when in that video you shook its hand. Of course, in that case, there was a human behind it to try to
that.
train it to do
Yeah.
something. But Does
Yeah,
it know?
it, all right. So the radio, I mean, it's using two cameras that see 2D, and the AI is converting that to math, right?
Hmm.
Radiance fields. Because it sees in radiance fields, it navigates the fingers in radiance fields. That's how it perceives the world after it gets converted to these radiance fields. I've seen autonomous cars with two cameras
Right.
that are building radiance fields in front of the car. And
Hmm.
I've seen other devices that build them pretty quick. And now the NVIDIA one right now is taking a little longer, but it's improving at a pretty quick rate.
Hmm.
So the thing to watch is the exponents. It's not where is it today, because like the
Hmm.
Apple headset's not gonna, you're not gonna have it in stores for another year. So the
Hmm. Hmm.
question is, how much did it improve in the past year? And it's
Hmm.
exponential. It's going crazy. The people who build a radiance field say a year ago it was impossible to do all sorts of stuff, and today they're like just chewing through problems and making them faster and faster and faster. And next year it's going to be faster and faster and faster yet. There was 47 or 49 papers at the latest computer
Hmm.
vision conference, and that was the hot topic of the conference. That was
So
that
do you think that Elon and Tesla is ahead in real world AI? He claims that you need to have a supercomputer, you need to have neural networks, you have to have millions
my
of
friend
data.
my
Yeah.
my
Or there
friend
are other companies that are going to be able to do this as well.
they're all going to try.
Mm.
But my friend builds data centers for
Mm.
Microsoft and others up in Washington. And he said there's a data center he's been in, which is just packed with Tesla AI 100 computers. A huge data center, a good part of the 500,000 square, or no, he said this one data center, 2 something million square feet, is huge. And a huge portion of that is Tesla's data center, right?
Mm.
That's a lot of machines to throw at a big ass job, right? And that's the simulator. We call it
Mm.
Doja, right?
Yeah,
But it's
Dojo. Yeah.
it creates a real time simulator of the world. In other words,
Yeah.
Elon can see all sorts of different things about the world in this simulator
Mm.
because it's watching all patterns. So here's one. My Home Depot burned down the other day,
Oh,
right? Two
okay.
months ago, the whole Home Depot burned down.
Oh, the whole time. Yeah.
It did burn down.
Yeah.
How many Teslas were in the lot?
Mm.
Three,
Uh-huh.
with 8 cameras going. How many cameras do you
Okay.
need to make a neural radiance field? Three,
Mm.
but not 8 cameras. You can make Unity claims you only need 1 camera, by the way, to make a radiance
Okay.
field. So, and you can actually move around a 3D space that it builds off the 2D camera a little bit. If you get 2 cameras, you get more 3D. If you get 3 cameras, you get more. And in a football stadium, they're putting 10 around the stadium, right?
Sure.
So anyway, so imagine you're in the simulator and you call up Elon. Hey, Elon, the Home Depot's burning down. He can watch it in real time in the simulator, or near real time. A minute later, maybe. I mean,
How hard is it going to be
or
for them
even
to
a day later before the AI stitches it all together
yeah.
and puts it in the simulator, and you get to watch the Home Depot burning down. I mean,
Yeah. So right now, all of their videos are from cars and vision systems. The real world AI is learning how to ride a roadway. Now we're talking about transferring that to a bot. I
yeah,
mean, people are saying, "Hey, the bot is a home, it's a factory,
yeah,
it's everything in this world. It's the trees, it's the stairs."
yeah,
How transferable is that?
a lot
Um, mhm.
because the street as a Tesla drives down the street, it images
Mm.
about it shows you on the screen about 200 meters, 200 yards around the
Mhm.
car. It's seeing everything,
Mhm.
right? So if it needs an image of the front of your house, no problem, right? And can it figure out, oh, this person has stairs up to a second apartment door, right? Are they a Tesla owner? If they are, they're carrying their phone, and the phone is always reporting location as you go upstairs. It
Sure.
has a barometer in the phone that even
Oh,
knows
interesting. So
going
even the
on,
app, of course.
right? So
Uh-huh.
you start thinking. I call this Israeli thinking because the Israelis taught me how they think about this stuff, right? And And no, they just chunk down what is the thing going to do, and how do we get the sensor reading for that.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, there's a lot of things that can be done
Okay,
with
so before we go there, let's
big
let's go back
brain
again. I
stuff.
want to
Yeah,
I want to hear about your if you've heard about the other robotic companies, right? So I saw
yeah,
Amica. So Amica is this face that can copy it's the one that everybody saw in viral video.
yeah.
Um, we
It's
saw
not.
there's this,
I don't believe that's really unencumbered AI. It was
it's
too.
just,
It's too advanced for today's
yeah,
technology. Um, they can puppeteer that kind of thing pretty
that's
easily, and
right.
right. In fact, our device, you notice that one worker can jump into it, into the
Mm.
giant AI device, and
Yes, I saw that.
in
Yeah,
VR, and he's seeing what the robot sees, and he controls its
yeah,
moving of the hands, right?
yeah,
Or the moving of the head too, right? So as he moves the
yeah,
head left and right, the head is moving left and right, so it matches human experience. It's designed to
yeah.
work at a workspace where a human works, right? So it has to work sort of like a human, move the eyes left and right,
Hmm.
so it can track, is the some task going by, and it needs to be able to move its hands and grasp things and move
This is
things.
Amica. You're talking about giant
This is
AI now.
how
Yeah,
this is
that's
the giant AI. But
giant AI. I saw that. Yeah,
yeah,
the
there's
Amica.
a
They're just
variety of. I mean, um, I've seen so many different robots, hundreds of robots that do various
mm,
different tasks. I mean, we
mhm,
already have Roombas in our house, right? That's a
right.
robot. And you can
Exactly.
get you can get a Chinese one that goes on the windows, cleans the windows.
Go clean
you
the
know,
windows.
you just keep going, right? And in
Yeah,
manufacturing lines, they have everything from a huge robot that spins a car around, right, and
right.
puts it on a different line. If you go into the Tesla factory, they have one that spins the car
Yeah.
around in a cage, right? And yeah, you can watch it, but you don't get close to it because you'll get crushed by such a thing, right?
All
All
right.
the
So,
way down to
so
smaller robots like
we've seen Boston Dynamics show off their Atlas robot that is doing parkour. It's jumping, it's flipping, it's opening a door, it's running through the fields. We've
yeah,
seen, and then there's a dog version. We've seen in the Japan Olympics, we saw this robot that was on wheels but in a basketball court and was able to take shots from half court and get it in perfectly.
they're good at
We've
math.
seen, what's that?
They're good at
Yeah.
math. It's just a sine wave or something. I don't even remember.
It's one
They're
of the
good at,
side line. That's obviously a lot of it's dexterity and so forth.
yeah.
And then there's Dennis Hong, who has 7 different robots out there. So of all the robots you've seen, is there anything that is even coming
And he's
close
a
to
Tesla
a
car robot. I'd say an autonomous car is a
yes?
robot.
That's what
I think
Elon's been saying.
the
Yeah.
Tesla software is the most stunning thing I've ever seen. And
Okay.
we haven't even been in the simulator. I'm talking about what it shows on the screens in the Teslas. It's
Yes.
stunning when you think about what is it doing and how is it predicting everybody's next move. It's like, whoa, that's a lot of software, a lot
So
of
of all these
things.
robots you've seen, is there anybody that's coming close to
No,
what they're attempting to do with the Tesla bot, or what they're
no,
proposing it's going to be able to
no,
do?
because they don't have the data. You got
In
to start
AI, the
with
real world AI,
a
right?
huge
Yeah,
data center with a huge number of machines to collect
yeah,
the data. My Tesla is sending Elon
yeah.
2.5 gigs a day, and so is yours. And so we're all uploading such mass little strings of data into this AI model that I mean, look at Dali. Dali ingested 225
Right.
million images into its AI, and now it hallucinates images back to you. You just tell it anything, and it'll send you
Huh.
back an image of that, right?
Okay, so the real competitors then is somebody.
Center, right? Not quite as big as Tesla's, but also a big ass data center.
So yeah, I was going to say the real competitors would be Google or Apple. Is Apple going to get into robotics if they can do AR glasses, recognizing real world homes?
Services.
What's
Hey
that?
Siri, can you deliver a pizza tonight for my family? Oh,
Hmm.
sure. It'll be
Yeah,
there in 39 minutes, and here's your pizza now going in the
right.
oven. The pizza guy has glasses on that are imaging the oven and can tag your pizza as it goes through the oven, right?
But you're pretty close to all these, especially Apple. You've been close to them. Do you have any hints at all that they may go into robotics or
yeah, they're
like the
building a car,
car?
right? They're
Yes.
building a car with a bunch of lidar, solid state lidars on the top of the
Yes.
car. Yeah, absolutely, Apple's building stuff, and it is watching Tesla and going, "Shit, we're fucked." So when companies that have a lot of money say that, then they spend a lot of money to get back in the game, And do they?
So you said earlier about Google being ahead in the AI bit about it. What about
Nobody's driving
robotics?
a car every
Right.
10 seconds across the
But
Golden Gate Bridge.
but
Only
this goes
Tesla.
back to, again, that's a car, and that, but how does that then translate into real world AI for homes and factories? We're making a big leap, but I believe it. I get
No,
it.
no,
It's a
the
self
auto.
learning system.
Uh,
What's that?
uh, my friend AJ went to Carnegie Mellon as an AI pioneer. He's one of only two
Okay.
people I know who's built an auto tagging
Okay.
AI, and he explained to me why it's so important. Elon just laid off a bunch of workers that do
Hmm.
the tagging.
Labeling. That's right.
AJ Janega says auto taggers uh, get everybody to go on vacations, i.e.,
Yes.
once you get an auto tagger, it starts
You don't
automatically
need them.
tagging everything and
If it's
does
so
it.
good, you don't need to. Yeah.
It does it all fast, and so if it sees something new that it's never seen, how many milliseconds does it take to go to Google and figure out, you know, how does this work? What is
Mm.
it? And is
Mm.
there any YouTube videos about it? Oh, let's chew through all of those in a few milliseconds,
Wow.
right?
That's
I
so
mean,
cool.
it's not quite that good, but it's close, And
Mm.
so it knows all data. This is why Google works so good because it's
Yeah.
seen every single search we've ever done, and it has an answer now for everything that's been done. When it hits something new, the Google AI is not flexible. It
Mm.
gives you a stupid answer,
Hmm.
and sometimes it gives you wrong answers, and you have to know that it's a wrong answer. But um, yeah, that's another problem.
Okay.
So far, most of the things that actually matter aren't wrong, right? So where you find errors is in, like, if you ask Google who was the first James Bond, it
Mm.
assumes you're asking about the movie because that's probably what most people are asking about. But
Instead
there
of the
was
book.
a play before the movie,
Mm.
and there was a different
Yeah.
James Bond. I don't even remember his name, but my friend who builds AIs told me about this problem. And it's still there. It still doesn't work
Sure. Sure.
properly. It's a little bug that we all enjoy.
Okay. Okay, well, this is good. So we spent a lot of time talking about the AI and understanding that a little bit better and where the different companies are. And then I want to talk about the humanoid form.
Yeah,
And do you know Dennis Hong? He's a UCLA professor. He's the founder of Romella
yeah,
Robotics and Mechanism Laboratory. So he's kind of famous. He's been doing it for a decade or longer. So
yeah,
he had 7 kinds of robots, and they're all variations from a spider to jumping ones and others.
yeah.
And then he just did a TED talk a couple weeks ago, and I was able to just watch it in preparation for this call. And he said, what's next? He's got 7 new robots, but the what was interesting about what he was talking about was he found it very, very difficult to have a humanoid form, to stay balanced and to not fall.
Yeah.
And so, as much as he wants to create a human form, he always reverts back to a spider with 6 legs or 3 legs, or he created a humanoid form, but instead of it being bipedal like we walk, it actually is kind of like it kind of does this kind of thing. Um, and then it's so funny because he goes, it's so hard
We
that he
punted on
created a
legs.
new.
Giant
What's
punted
that?
on legs, right? They don't have legs on Giant. They
They don't
just,
even have legs. Giant does no legs. Yeah, they just
and
saying it's
that
just
was
going to be the
done
hands.
for a reason because the math you
It's
need, the training data you need to walk and
right.
move and not fall is it
But
very.
so then what Hong did is, Dennis Hong, what they did was they actually created another kind of robot which doesn't look like a robot at all. It's a balloon filled with helium, and it has 2 kind of almost like rope-like legs so that it can always stay. It's just a way to keep it so that it doesn't fall.
Yeah,
Now, what's but then you have that, and then you're comparing that to the Boston Dynamics big, giant, heavy metal things that can jump and flip and all that, and they seem like you can't flip them over. In fact, you've seen videos where the graduate student would kick it and it fall and get back up again or something like that.
It's all AI.
And yeah, so why can't
Uncomplicated.
why what's going on? Why is Dennis Hong saying that they can't make a robotic bipedal human that or humanoid robot that can walk?
It's a tough problem. Our human brains are doing a lot of math, trying to figure out, how to navigate ourselves and keep us from falling. I once met the autopilot team at Tesla at a supercharger. It's
Okay.
funny. Met 5 of them of the,
Yeah.
I don't know, 50 people who work in autopilot engineering. And they said, we have a philosophy. If your human can do it, we can do it.
Yes. Yes.
And so I start with that philosophy. Like, how is this possible to make this thing walk? Well, they have more data about how things walk. I stood,
Who
I,
does?
I parked in front of my kid's school, and my Tesla was showing all the humans
Yes, I
walking
saw that.
around the car. I'm like,
Oh,
so you
interesting.
have all the data to train all the robots on how to walk
Oh my
because
gosh. I
our
never
team,
thought of that.
right? He has a lot of human samples of people walking
Wow.
around the car, in front of the car, next to the car, right? And all of that is being studied now. I know a guy who has a patent on bone, structures and vascular structures to do all sorts of identity stuff. This
Mhm.
is studying the human body is a pretty deep science now. I mean, we have iPhone apps you put on a basketball court and it watches you play and it shows how many
Yes.
goals you made,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay. So you start thinking about what do they got? Oh, yeah, they got a few million computers in their data center that are all optimized just to do math for AI. And they have a lot of data of people walking around, dogs walking around, all sorts of kids, old people, right? They can study each one of those data sets in mass, and they're
Just to be
doing that.
devil's advocate, couldn't you just pull up YouTube, have Google search everything, and say, "Show me all the ones where humans are walking," and just use that as a simulator and just work on that?
Yes, but now, do you have what the sidewalk out front of my house looks like, and the
In the
staircase,
depth, in the height.
and the mud?
Hmm. Hmm.
Because it
Hmm.
has to go through mud sometimes. It has to go in the rain sometimes, right? If it's
Hmm.
actually going to enable what I am expecting it to enable. Why does Elon want a robot? He's going to have an autonomous car soon. And if you
Hmm.
have an autonomous car, a transportation per hour goes from $60 retail to about 10.
Hmm.
Therefore, a delivery service that charges $10 for a pizza goes down to 2.
Right. Uh,
And they'll take a profit of 5. It'll reduce the price of a lot of things. And if I'm going to deliver pizza, I need to move the pizza from my pizza oven at round table into the vehicle, right, to send it
mm.
away and get it to go to somebody's house. And then how do you get the pizza from the vehicle to the front door at minimum? Just that. Just that's the
Is
road.
is it your is it your guess then that basically we're saying that the first use case for the Tesla bot, he's been saying factory. Now
I
you're
get
saying maybe door
reaching
to
the
last
dash
mile.
and putting an air conditioning unit in there, or putting some wiring harnesses in there. That's another job
Yeah.
a robot can do, and it's hard to do that with today's industrial robots.
Right.
Yeah, so he could, and if he has this kind of AI that learns quick, like in less than 6 tries,
Mm.
it's not going to be hard to teach that robot how to put something in over and over
Hmm.
and over and over again, and then they take over the job. Yeah.
Yeah. So factory first, and then you said you think that maybe they'll be used for delivering the pizza from the car or something like that.
It's totally about the car because it enables a new
Mm.
kind of transportation service, i.e., pizza, laundry, food, laundry, all the things that are around your city that need to be delivered. When you get the Cybertruck, it can deliver sheetrock, right, to your house,
Okay, this is interesting. Yeah, that's
right?
okay. A lot of
You're not
people
going
said
to
this,
want
but
to
I
go
I don't
to
think
the
so.
Home Depot and pick out the sheetrock. You're going to
Yeah.
pick that out in augmented reality glasses, and
Yeah.
oh yeah, that's what I need. That right there, and
What I thought it would be personally is the semi. So after the factory, they'll help with the semi because when you're driving a semi, it's autonomous. It's great, but then there's so many things that the driver does outside of that, and then they would take over that, and then that sort of then allows them to do
it totally makes
autonomous
sense what
semi.
you just said. That's
Yeah.
having a workforce, a robot workforce that comes with the semi, jumps off the back, and
Yeah.
um, organizes all your boxes onto lines.
Yeah.
It's already happening,
So
anyways. I mean
what I
that
loved about
I've
yeah.
heard of I met a guy at the game developer conference, and we started talking about his job. He's like, yeah, I build these kinds of systems for warehouses. I work for a supply chain company. I'm like, oh, cool.
Okay.
Because yeah, and this was 2 years ago. He said, and we just turned on our first cold storage automated, a completely automated factory. I.e., lettuce comes in one door on a truck, and
Mm.
robots take it off, redistribute it on lines.
Okay.
Everything's automated, no human beings in the thing. And I'm like,
Wow.
and I just saw that
Wow.
on one of the news journals today. I'm like, oh, this fully automated warehouse is, oh yeah, we're 2 years. The news is 2 years behind what's actually going on.
Wow. That is absolutely
So if
really cool.
so, why do we need a Tesla robot on the semi and such? Well, there's lots of places that don't have that kind of infrastructure, right? And
Yeah.
your 7-Eleven, you're dropping some milk off to, or right? You see these semi trailers driving around the neighborhood delivering, different products to different
Right.
stores, right?
Yeah.
So
All right. So yeah.
having a few
What
robots back makes total sense that it would get out and
uh,
stock your milk and stock your Diet Cokes and all
so
that.
what Giant AI said was that so Boston Dynamics is like steel. It's really thick, and it
Yeah,
needed that width and strength. But then Giant AI said, you can reduce the price,
sure,
keep
heavy
it
pack military.
keep it
That's what we're
plastic. Yeah, they were heavy pack milk. That's who their market is probably in
yeah,
Boston Dynamics.
yeah.
But
Or
for
construction.
Giant AI, they said, if you make it light, it's easier to move. You won't harm anybody. You can work side by side with workers, and that
Yeah.
seems to be what TeslaBot is designed to be. Some sort of plastic
Not too
or
heavy.
whatever.
If you bump into it, it's not going
Yeah,
to hurt you. It'll react like if you
yeah.
if you if you tackle it. It'll be interesting to see what does it do if you tackle it. Right? I mean, this
Yeah,
is the
yeah.
kind of if Elon's going to build a robot, it's going to do stuff like, "Hey, go for a bomb." We'll throw
So
you.
one of the reasons why I reached out to you because you just tweeted out something that I really loved a week ago or whatever it was, and you said, Tesla bought in AI Day on September 3rd because I've been asking the same question.
Yeah,
So when they announced that Tesla bot was going to be possibly at the AI Day, they first said AI Day was going to be August 19th, and
yeah.
then he comes out and says, "Oh, sorry guys, we need till September 30th." The
Needs another
common theme that
4
everybody kept saying, "Oh, that's because they're delayed. They're not there yet." I actually thought of it as positive. I think what happened was they showed him this incredible bot. He got really excited and he said, "Okay, we're going to do it on August 19th. Get it done, guys." But then he goes, "You know what? I needed to do this to show that it's not just a bot that can jump and dance. That's not enough. I needed to show its intelligence because that's what we are." And so what could be cool? In your tweet, you threw out some ideas that I thought, yeah, those are good ideas. So, what do you think in Tesla AI Day when he shows off the robot? What does it need to do to prove that this is real world AI? This is not just all the other bots out there that can do fancy stuff that are coded in. The Boston Dynamics guy can slip and turn and then they can walk out the door. But when you look closely, you'll see QR codes in every door. So it's just, robotically opening a door. You need to show that Tesla bot is able to maneuver based on changing environments. What's your
Bingo.
ideas?
And what does Elon know about the real world? Every fucking thing.
I
Everything.
still don't agree with you there. I don't think
No,
so because he doesn't have
on the street,
videos in the house. Or
hear me out. There's 4 on my street, okay, and they drive up my street a lot. So
yeah,
how many times has the front of my house been imaged by a Tesla or
right.
a Google, for that matter? Google and
Yeah,
Apple have also imaged the front of my house, and it's 2
yeah.
centimeters per volumetric pixel or a box
Mm,
in the street, and it'll do some pretty amazing things. I mean, um, the eyes are going to know where in 3D space the head is. That's why it won't stumble, because it
mhm,
always knows what it's looking out at, and there are little strings going to the voxels that are around it, and it knows where those voxels are, and it knows what those voxels are. Is that a stop sign? Is that
mhm,
a light pole? Is that a telephone pole? Is that a car? Cars don't move very fast, but they do move once in a while, right? The AI treats those
Yeah.
different and shows them different on the screens than a telephone pole, which never moves. Telephone pole is good for looking at voxels, right? Because it never moves,
Yeah.
and those voxels are there.
So
Once
that
you
I
find
agree with you then,
your
yeah, the
computer knows
delivery from a car to the front door can be done because they've got that video for
easy,
sure. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and he can do it while dancing. Yeah,
So
you're
is that an example of something you might see on AI Day too, where he'll go, here's the bot, and he's gonna open up, he's gonna, you said it's gonna drive in through the Tesla, whatever. Why does that have to happen? Opens the door, comes out, picks a package, and delivers it.
what he's about to do
Yeah.
is turn on the robo taxi network, right? I mean, it's
Right.
still 4 years away, but that's not very long. The iPhone is
Yeah.
15 years old, right? I remember that. So,
Of
um,
course you do.
his to sell robo taxis to us, he
Mm,
needs to get us to understand the utility of what happens when transportation goes autonomous. The
mm,
wholesale cost of transportation goes from $18 an hour to $30 an hour wholesale. And, so all sorts of weird shit's going to happen because of that, because you're going to use transportation more than you do today, but you're going to use it not to take a ride somewhere, but to
mm.
go pick up your laundry or go pick up your sheetrock eventually when the Cybertruck comes out, or pick up your food or pick up dinner, right? Or pick up your weed. In
Sure.
California, they
Yeah.
deliver weed, right? They deliver all sorts of
Yeah.
stuff to your house now,
Yeah.
right? All
Yeah.
sorts
Yeah.
of different services are delivering stuff. He's going after all that because he understands how the human city works. He understands how many people are standing in line at a nightclub in San Francisco. So does GM and Waymo, but they only operate in San Francisco and Phoenix and Carnegie Mellon.
Yeah. Okay. So you think the demo is going to be a delivery from the car into the front door or something like
Has
that?
to show off why automatic driving matters beyond just saving lives. Because if he does
Interesting.
that, you
Okay.
start thinking about, oh shit, I better reorder. My brother, who owns a bar in Virginia, is already thinking about this. It's like, oh shit, what's coming from my bar? Is it more business, less business? How do I get the business? Right? This is all going to
Yeah.
come through the Tesla network. He's putting in Tesla chargers for that reason. So Tesla owners get used to going and plugging in and teaching the AI in the cloud about this bar and going, hey, this is a cool place for Tesla owners, right?
You just it gave me an idea. There's a camera probably watching you plug in. Maybe instead of that snake thing, it just
There's
the bot
Chinese
will do it
microphones
too.
on the walls over there, so there's probably a camera. I mean, I'm talking to a camera. It stares at me all day long, right?
Oh.
And stares at my
Um,
living room and watches the TV while I'm watching TV. I mean, it's right behind me, right?
so in the last an interview that Lex Fridman did with Elon about the bot, Elon said
Yeah,
there's two things that we can do that no one else is able to do. So he said real world AI, which we talked about, and the other one is manufacturing. He's able to manufacture this. So any thoughts or ideas about that? Have you seen other robots, and do
I
they're all
visited
just onesie twosies? What's that?
I visited China and understood how factories work over there.
Yeah.
Seagate used to sponsor my show and took me over there
Right.
to see their factory. Um, the guy who runs design at Harman Kardon, which Samsung bought and for billions of dollars, they make
Right.
head units for Toyota and stuff like that. He said, when I moved my design team from around different places around the world to Shenzhen, China, they
Mm.
started shipping product faster, winning awards, and making sales. They made a lot more money per designer. And he said the reason for that is if they have a problem with the plastic in some part or something wrong with, or if they just have a weird ass idea, I want to make a camera that is
Mm.
waterproof. They just need to walk across the street with the plans and go, hey, can you guys build such a thing? Is that possible? And they go, well, yeah, but you have to change that one piece. That's hard to manufacture right now. Change that to maybe a thicker piece, and we can make that. And in half a day, they're to work on a new product, right?
Yeah.
That iteration cycle is very fast because they're close together. It's a real problem for America because if we want to
Hmm.
design products, I have to,
Hmm.
you know, use augmented reality.
Hmm.
That's the only way we're going to compete with China.
Yeah.
Because if
Yeah.
we want to have that same iteration cycle with the factories in China, which is what you're going to do, you're going to make a lot of things in China still. You need to have that kind of don't get on a plane kind of attitude. You have to fix it right now and get back to work on this thing you're building.
Hmm. Well,
So
so Tesla is able to do that
manufacturing,
though. Their factories, yeah,
they have the whole universe mapped.
yeah,
The whole
yeah.
universe.
Their factory can.
Their AI knows every fucking thing. Serious.
Yeah.
And it's next level. It's like, what's the retail store sales of this store versus this store?
How would
It's
they? How would Apple or Tesla know this?
ingesting of data from places.
So
What?
you think
Hold
they
on,
have
hold on.
supercomputers? Yeah.
Tesla, what did Elon ask me when I laid down my money for my Model 3? He said,
Mm,
send me your driver's license. I saw an
yeah.
Israeli company that takes a picture of that, one picture, even
Mm,
sent over a cheap ass camera on your
sure.
phone. And it
Hmm.
validates whether it's authentic or not, knows that it actually
Hmm.
came from a real government ID.
Hmm.
He asked for my credit card, both sides. So
Hmm.
he knows the security code on the back, right? And uh, insurance card, both sides. So he knows everything about my insurance agent and whether I have insurance or not. Those three things let you do a lot of things in finance.
Oh my gosh.
And you
Okay.
think this AI this? I saw Israel AI several years ago that ingested everything.
Wow. Okay.
So
That's interesting.
so we're
Your
doing the
mind is
war
much
of the
wider.
AI. Yeah, and so the robots, you start thinking about how do you design a robot to not
Mm,
stumble.
mhm.
Oh shit, he has a lot of data nobody else does.
Wow.
He has all the
So I mean,
data
I'm
in
shocked
work,
how quickly
and that
that
doesn't
it's
matter.
or
But the eyes are getting good enough to see, feature points around you, and the
mm,
computer is thinking this way. Insta360, a camera company, it came to my house and showed me their camera. It works
mm.
basically the same
I
way.
saw you do that. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
the AI in the inside the camera is looking for features like edges or
Mm,
horizons, right? And it's moving the ball of pixels as you move the camera left and right. So it's
yeah.
steady cam. It's
I
moving
saw
the
you do
pixels.
that. Yeah.
This dude, I mean, this is why I was like, come on, this dude lands things on barges from space.
Right, right, right. So
I
they
mean,
must be
it,
able to they can land that rocket on the barge at that
yeah, you're
speed, at
telling
that
me
height.
a robot
Putting
that can
foot at the
steady,
floor is nothing.
right? That's expectation. Come on, you know how to make. But they have simulators where they can do where their AI can learn from other things over and
Right.
over real fast
Right,
and
right.
can't
Gotcha.
compete.
Okay.
Human
You just made me go crazy here. Okay.
auto tagging.
That's
Auto tagging is important
wow.
because you want to know, oh, that pedestrian's a child, right?
Yeah.
That one's an old person. That one, right? It's auto tagging everything in the scene around it, and it
Yeah.
knows what it's looking at. Look at the Apple one, the Apple plan, room plan. At
Yes. I've
WWDC,
seen
they
that.
shipped a scanning system that
Yeah, and it recognizes things.
scans your
Yeah.
room and recognize all sorts of stuff and distances, all just from
Now
the
you can
camera.
move the foreground out because it knows
Yeah,
exactly what
and they're
one
not showing
object
you
versus another object.
I'm wearing this shirt of the good shit. This guy did a
Mm.
scan. He watched WWDC with me, and then he scanned my house. And he had a fashion show where people are walking on my floors through my house,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
So if he can make a virtual thing walk through my house, Tesla can make a robot thing walk through my house because it sees the
Okay.
world the same way.
Yeah.
He was telling me, yeah, soon you're going to have performers walk down the hall into your space, and
That's so cool. Okay. So let's go back to,
but
your life is
the robot, the
amazing.
hard part then is hooking up the AI with the motors, but that
Mm,
too is something that is trainable, learnable. Like, Didn't they get
Yeah.
engineering specs for every motor? Don't they have an idea of how flexible or inflexible the arm is? How many millimeters it overshoots things every single time? Don't they have
Right.
that? And doesn't the math keep, getting the hand better and better and better every time? Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I had a simulator, I wouldn't have to do all those fucking things those people were doing in the video. They would just do
Right.
it
Right.
virtually.
Just virtually instead of doing it
Let it go to
physically.
town
Yeah.
and figure out how to run a machine from scratch.
Yeah.
Here,
Yeah. So he
here's my
said, Elon
right.
said that. Yeah.
Humans are doing this, right? I couldn't figure out how to put gas in my rental Toyota because I got a Toyota for a couple of weeks because my Tesla was in the shop because somebody hit me, got a new
Yeah.
bumper. And I couldn't figure out. My wife has a RAV4, and I know where the button is on her car, but I couldn't figure it out. I was like clueless. I was like, so what do? I pull out Google Assistant, talk to Google Assistant. There's a YouTube video that shows you how to do it. So
Sure.
you're telling me the AI can't ingest all that and go, oh, we have
Yeah.
a 3D thing now that shows you how to do that task?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How how
Yeah.
much further should we go? I mean, this data center is fairly big. How much more data can we ingest? A lot.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, that's what he said. He goes, in order to do real world AI, you have to show me you have a supercomputer, you have billion miles or videos that you can train it, and then you have to have the neural networks and the software. If you don't
Yeah.
have any of those, or you're short on that,
I
you're not
saw
going
a
to be able to do.
paper. I saw a paper written by an innovator at the computer vision conference. It figured out how to go over obstacles from one picture.
Oh, okay.
If it
Just showing a picture.
if AI can
Yeah.
learn from one picture how to go over things like a
Yeah.
humanoid form,
Well, right.
you can't
And app
figure
and
out if
Tesla's
you
the expertise, yeah, in heights and
you
depth of
the
things. It needs
similar
to know the curb. Yeah.
it no you can go through Yosemite in the wintertime or the summertime or in sunset or in sunrise or
Yeah.
in the middle of the night, right? Or in rain or in fog or in tornado. We can simulate a tornado in this thing. Come on, let's go.
You're
If it
so
can do
bullish.
all of
It's
that,
awesome.
then it can teach a robot how to walk in the snow that's in the 3D scene that the camera's because I drove in the snow in my Tesla and it was capturing the snow.
Yeah, no,
Right?
exactly.
With
Yeah.
a
It's
simulator.
figuring
So
that
a
out.
piece of the snow
Yeah.
might have been off my car, another piece of the snow was off another car. That's what a computer
Yeah.
does. It takes little pieces of things and makes
Yeah.
new surfaces. And his material scientists are using this to do material
Right.
science.
Yeah. So yeah, their expertise, what
Tell
Tesla's
me you
expertise
can't
is
put it
when you
inside.
show them a video, when you show them a video of something, they're
Yeah.
able to quickly figure, okay, I don't know what this item is. And then they try to figure out what it is and they label it. And then before they used to have people, humans would, they had, he said that we had like 100,000 people would label things
1,500.
and then the system would see if it was right. Now they moved those people to the end. They would label something and the people were there just to confirm if it's correct. And so when they let go some people, it's because it's so accurate already that they need less people to actually confirm it's right. And so what you've got there is something that you show a brand new scene, hasn't seen, let's say it's never seen a balloon before.
Yeah.
Once you show them, yeah, I think Karpathy said in one of his AI
Here's
days
here's
videos, he
what
goes,
on your
"What's
iPhone
that?
you can get an app called Chooch, Chooch. With the
Uh huh.
standard 2D camera, it knows 200,000 different items on your iPhone. You aim it at a Coke can, it says that's a
Something."
Coke can. You aim it at a
Okay,
Toyota
yeah. So
RAV4,
it's
it
out
says
there. Yeah. And if you have a supercomputer, it can do that. Yeah. So yeah, Karparthi said that let's say you have a car that has debris coming out of it. In just 4 hours, we can get 10,000 videos of different cars in different scenarios with debris, and then the system figures out that that's a car
and
with the
with
debris
a
coming out of it, and figure it out. Yeah.
put a
So
mudslide in the simulator, put an avalanche in the
right.
simulator, put
So if you throw a
put
bot in
in the
a home, it'll just figure it out on its own eventually once it has enough videos of that, and then it'll just self-learn and figure it out. When one robot figures it out, the rest know already right away that that fridge is open this way, that fridge is open this way. So
when you turn on the giant robot, the software starts running and it figures out it's a robot when you start it up.
What?
I.e., the software is designed to start up in different things. The giant software, when it boots up, it figures out by the
Hmm.
sensors that are around the machine that just booted it that it's a robot. If it starts
Okay.
up inside an autonomous car, it can figure out, oh, I have 7 cameras now to play with, or 7 cameras and a LiDAR to play with. I'm an autonomous
I must
car,
be a car.
right? Again, that's AI thinking. It's like, how do we make this thing learn so fast that it just figures out what it is as it's booting
Gotcha.
up,
That is so cool.
right?
Briefly,
Make it
I want to
do
get
that
back
all
to
the time on all situations, but that's their
yeah.
thinking. Is like, how do you make this thing flexible? And then someday you're going to have virtual robots too that are just going to be pals of yours. Hey, Tesla,
What's a virtual robot?
a virtual being that in your glasses you can see. You put on your
Yeah,
glasses, you
gotcha,
can see
gotcha.
your Tesla robot standing next to you, and then that thing's going to be pretty smart. Like, hey, Tesla robot, you know, where should we go for dinner tonight?
Yeah,
Oh
Lex
yeah, we
Fridman
know
and
the kids
Elon
aren't
said that.
here. You ready for
Yeah,
some sushi, baby? Yes. I'll call the truck.
Elon said that the robots will probably have personalities in the future,
There's a
based on your
huge
personality.
gaping hole in the Tesla car.
Oh,
Everything else is automatic. The windshield wipers, the mirror, everything's nice,
uh-huh.
except when you try to talk to the car.
That's right.
You know that ain't on purpose. I mean, that's on purpose. They're holding
Why?
out for a system that they're going to bring out where you can talk to everything in the Tesla environment: a virtual robot,
Yeah,
a car,
yeah,
augmented reality glasses, the car itself.
yeah.
And it's going to learn
That
fast. So it's going to
yeah.
keep getting more and more things it
But
does.
so yeah, that's what I was going to talk about. It needs to be voice, right? You need to be able to talk to it. You need. I think he
You're
already said
driving
that,
at,
right? Go
you
get
know,
me a
80,
beer.
I mean, here's one.
Hmm?
You're driving 80 miles an hour through Central California. You just left the supercharger, right? And you're hungry all of a sudden. Hey,
Yeah,
Tesla, can you tell me when's the next in and out?
right.
It knows where you're heading. It knows where all the in and outs are. It's seen that before with other Teslas that have gone through the drive-through even 3 minutes ago, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's able to say, yeah, there's one ahead. There's a line that's about 10 minutes right now. And you can decide if you're going to stop at that one or go a little further. Oh, there's no line at that one. And the AI will
Okay.
be able to talk to me. The little virtual thing standing here is going to be able to talk to me like that all day long. Like, hey, the weather
Yeah.
looks nice today. You should go
I
outside.
can't wait till that happens. But
People
yes,
go
you
on.
should definitely be able to talk to your car at the very
And me,
least, and of
that's,
course, pet.
I didn't even think about that. Maybe they shipped a virtual robot long before they shipped a physical one to get us
Uh,
used to we're going to talk to a robot and it's going to do
yeah. So
interesting.
the only way for that to happen is they have to have AR glasses, right?
No, that phone. I'm going to
Well, you're
Apple and
thinking Tesla's
Google.
not going to create a phone. Yeah,
No, but they
Tesla's
have
not
an
going to
app
create a
on
phone.
the phone. They could add an augmented reality thing to the phone that lets you image a virtual robot in your house and talk to it,
Uh,
right? Even
I doubt that, but okay. That's
that's a way
possible.
easier
Yeah.
than building a robot because that can go simulator right into the app. I mean, yeah,
It's
there's
not as valuable.
that's
Okay. So Robert,
Adrian
I
actually
just want to spend
told me.
some time. Uh, I
Adrian
want to spend
actually
some
told me.
time getting to know you a bit. So
Yeah,
tell me a little bit your story, how you started, and then there's so many things that you've said that you're like, it's amazing the things that you've been the first to see or first to do. Like I heard you this morning on the space talking about the CERN being given a private tour of CERN in Switzerland. Can you share a few of these examples that you've done that is just mind blowing?
yeah, I was the first child laborer for Apple Computer at 13 years old.
What do you mean by that?
My mom built Apple II motherboards in our house and had a whole assembly line. And we were not quite slaves. We got paid $1 a board to stuff the boards with, I don't know,
You're kidding. You're not kidding me. This is
I'm
the
not kidding,
original.
with hundreds of Apple II motherboards, right?
Oh my
I just
God.
was thinking about that because it's like, Apple's iPhone is
Does Steve Jobs know this? Did he know this?
Woz did.
Was okay. That's so
Yeah.
cool, Robert.
They ran out of factory line.
Yeah,
They got so much demand for the Apple II that they couldn't make them fast enough in their factories. So they hired a woman, Hildy Licht, in the Valley, who hired housewives to build things under
gotcha.
contract. She's still in business today, probably because she had the Apple account for a while.
That
Good
is so cool.
momentum there. Apple hired you guys. You must do good work. In fact, Woz told me those motherboards had fewer failures than the ones they made in the factory
Yeah,
because people like my mom were very careful with them.
yeah.
And we washed them in our dishwasher. The flux off the solder. I learned how to solder on Apple II motherboards, right? And I got a
That's
job
so
later at
cool.
HP running their manufacturing line. That's early days. Um, I met Woz, the guy who designed the motherboards, in 1989, later, 12 years later.
Yeah,
And I saw him at West Valley Community College. He was parking in the same spot every morning, and his car had the plates Woz, so I knew who it was.
yeah,
It was like, what is Woz doing at community college? Well, he's,
yeah.
started Apple Computer. You should be going to Stanford or Berkeley. They let you in for free. When you start a company like that, everybody wants you to start to come to their college because it's a big deal.
Yeah,
But here he's going to community college, and I stalked him and studied with him every morning for a semester, and that led to a friendship for the entire life. But I was first
nice.
to see the Tesla. I was the first to get a ride in the first Tesla with Elon. Elon gave me a ride before he gave his best friend a
How
ride.
did this happen?
People
How
can
did
say
this happen? I thought it was
because
that
we
VC guy.
totally by accident
Yeah.
because I was out to dinner with Jason Calacanis, who's his
Yes,
best
Jason is
friend.
his best friend, right? Yeah.
Yeah, or was at the time. I
Okay.
don't know if they're still best buds, but they're pretty good buds. And
Yeah, yeah.
he was like, we were having dinner at this restaurant. He's like, I think Elon just got his new car. Should we call Elon? Of course we should call Elon. I mean, keep in mind, back then nobody knew who he was, really.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
nerds like us probably knew, okay, he's a crazy guy who started PayPal and has some sort of car fetish. Something he's doing something with cars. That's what I that's what I thought of as Tesla that night. I was
At
like,
the time. Yeah.
I want to see a new car. Who doesn't want to see a new car?
Sure.
Yeah, have this dude bring out his new car, right? And we ended up drag racing it. And Elon had a yellow uh, Corvette, and the Tesla just
Yeah.
wiped it away. At least at what we were doing, which was stop sign racing in Santa Monica, and we would both step on the accelerator as good as we could, and the Tesla was just completely eviscerated the gas car. And Elon was giving
Yeah.
me, I was live streaming on a Nokia phone, so I took 2,000 people or so. And Gambit wrote about it. It's still up.
Wow.
It's
That's
not
pretty
the video.
cool.
It's a story.
Yes.
Anyways, he gave me the first sales pitch of Tesla Corporation, why it mattered, right? Why electric motors in vehicles matters. It's cheaper, it's safer, and it beats
Yeah.
you. It beats the other guys like stop sign racing,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
which is
Torque.
his.
Torque is fast.
He appeals to the child in me at least, and many other people I've met who are Tesla fans, right? Because he's like, oh, he flies. He's doing rockets that land on barges. Okay, that's just next level. That's cool,
Pretty cool. That is
right?
really cool.
We've seen rockets all of our lives, but rockets that land on barges, that's like next level.
Yeah.
And we all want to be an astronaut, right? A lot of us want to be
Yeah,
good
we do.
make have good eyes or something like that. And he's a car guy, and he's doing all this other stuff, and so he just appeals to the child in us,
Yeah,
the
for
child
sure.
that wants to do weird shit, and um, and change the world and help people and stuff like that, or put them out of work. I'm still trying to figure out which is Elon nice or mean. I'm not.
Yeah, we'll see.
People say he's nice, and people say he's mean. Jury's
He's
still out
nice.
there.
Yeah.
But the robots haven't killed me yet, and they had
Yeah,
chances,
yeah.
millions of chances to kill me every day when I'm driving my Tesla because it's a foot of
Right, right. Sure, sure.
65 miles an hour on curves with a bus on the other side, and it does it perfectly every single time so far. So far,
Okay, what other new
who's
first
failed?
things did you do? Yeah.
It does
What's
make
the
mistakes.
first things? Yeah.
But I was first to see Flipboard, Cloudera, all Instagram, all sorts of companies.
Wow.
And
Really?
Siri,
That's
yeah, Siri was launched in my son's bedroom. I had the first video of the Google self-driving car on YouTube. Still is the
yeah.
first. And so I've been all over the world into R&D labs and other things.
Yes.
Matayo was one. Um, 11 years ago, they showed me monsters on the sides of skyscrapers with a computer, and that became Apple's augmented reality headset. And we haven't
Gotcha.
seen it. That's 11 years I've been waiting for this. See, my son
Yes.
now, he's giving me a nice back.
That's
It's 11 years,
amazing. Yeah.
right? So um, I've been tracking all these companies for a long time, all these startups that I like talking to who are starting two-person companies, doing something weird. And they get sucked into Apple and disappear. And that's happened over and over and over again. I'm like, someday this company's going to ship something instead of just
It's gonna ship. Yeah, they're picking the right one.
and it's
Yeah.
been seeing in a lot of interesting things and companies and technologies and doing stuff that like the M1 chip is really amazing chip. Here's one. I tried to talk Bill Gates into I worked for Microsoft as a strategist.
Yes, you did. Yeah.
So I tried to talk him into spending $300 million to do a variety of things and buy companies like Automatic, which today owns 17% of the web.
Oh, automatic. Yeah, yeah, they did
Bill
well.
could
Yeah.
have put a bid in and I bought it. Did he? No. He didn't even give me $300 million. It cost him a lot, but he doesn't care. He's still making a lot. He's a billionaire, and he always will be. But uh, he turned me down for $300 million, and I had a pretty good case of why he should spend that money. This M1 I'm talking to you on, 16.8% of it is neural network.
Yes.
It's not being used right now. That alone, that piece of the chip alone, costs multiple billions of dollars. So who talked Tim Cook into spending multiple billions of dollars on a processing capability that really is not turned on yet? Okay, cool. Steve Jobs. There's only one human being who can get Tim Cook to spend $3 billion, and it's Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs told him long ago what to do to disrupt TV, disrupt everything.
Yeah.
They started buying augmented reality companies right after that and patenting things way back, even before Matayo got bought, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Well, I
fun
know
to
you've been
see.
excited for it. It's coming.
And so I'm just a little pollinator. I see this startup do this thing. I see this robot company do this thing, and I see this guy do or this woman doing this thing, and I'm starting to put together. Oh shit! There's big change on the way.
You're like the Forrest Gump of technology.
Hey,
every
I'm
place you've ever
good
been.
at showing up at weird places first. I can't deny it. After having Bill Gates' robot lab, I got in there first, right?
Yeah, but it's so cool that you also did that with Tesla, and now you can see the passion you have and the excitement you have with the Tesla bot. We just know it's going to change the world, right? Have you given some thought a bit of all the things that are going to change? How
It's
significant
gonna
this
go
is to
over
the
and get
economy,
the ice cream away from my son right now.
right? A robot nanny. What would we call these robots, anyways? Like I know that Elon stumbled with the word
Hey,
owner.
Hey, Tesla One, do you have a brother? I'd like to hang out with your brother.
But what are you? What are
Play
you
three
going to be
games
called?
together, right? Three-way
Yeah.
games. We need another robot in the house to do something.
Yeah. I don't know.
You're going to rent them. Also, they're going to come with the transportation network. You're going to call them.
right.
Hey, I need a pizza delivered, and it's going to arrive at the front door, and it's going to go, hey, for $2 we can come in and set up your table and put out your napkins and all that. And then for another $2 we can clean your toilets, and and another $2 we can
Is
organize
there
your.
any way that you can weasel your way in so that you can get a first view of this bot? And can I join you? Is there a way
I
that
think
you can find your
we're going to
friends?
be watching AI Day right there. I don't get invited anymore to these things, so
Yeah.
I'm going to be watching on TV just like you are and going,
Yeah.
okay, that's really interesting. The AI is really good at that, not really good at that, or has where's the batteries? How much power
Yeah.
does it have? They're good. they could put on a good show, and it's going to be a show, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
With a robot that looks real. I mean, like you saw a giant could climb into the
Yes.
robot with a VR headset. Is there somebody
Somebody
behind the
controlling it.
stage
Yeah.
helping it? I think
I hope
it
they don't
should
do
be.
that though. That's
I
cheating
hope
if
they
they
don't
did that.
either. I think Tesla should say, "This is Tesla AI. There is no human being you're
Yes.
interacting with. It's talking to you.
Yeah.
It's playing jump rope with you. It's doing this
Yeah.
stuff in front of you." Because Milan, get off that. Put that ice cream away, please.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, you know, could could it do very crazy things? It should. Like they should demonstrate it. Going through an obstacle course on the way to your front
Yeah.
door, like
Yeah.
mud,
But no, you threw an idea, which is it has to
fire.
have something random, right? So you have to either throw a dice or something random happens, and then things change because of that, and then they go out and does something because it can't just be you watch it do that. It's got to be something random and changed it, right?
I sure hope so.
Yeah.
We're going to be watching close. What is this thing doing? And where did it
So
get its
let's
data?
do
And
some
how much?
predictions here.
What does it know about the street? Whoa, wait a second. It did something freaky there. How did it do that? Right. And we're going to be thinking about how the AI is seeing various things in the street. Like, does a bicycle come down the demo path and it jumps out of the way like a human does and lands on its feet and then comes back?
Right. Yeah.
It better do stuff like that because that's the expectation, right? That it
But it doesn't
interacts.
have to do it by September though, does it? I mean, it can kind
Yeah.
of like
No, that's the
yeah.
whole point. If you can build, the simulator, it's doing it in the simulator. So, okay, now, do they have the ability to manufacture a robot that can do the simulator? That's hard. Adrian warned me about that. He said, we can do a lot of things in simulator too. It's hard to put them in a machine that moves and
Yeah.
has engines and sensors and has it all calibrated together.
Mhm.
It's hard to do that. But, they build cars. Come on. Don't they have a lab
Yeah.
where they can build things? Yes.
For
Don't
sure.
they
Yeah.
have CNC
They
machines?
build seats.
Everybody
They
else?
build
Yes.
everything. Yeah.
Don't they have the ability to
Parts,
put, all sorts of weird stuff onto weird things?
mechanics,
Yes.
actuators.
Space
Yeah. Now he's
materials.
already said that it's not going to look like the bot that we saw in a mannequin. It's going to be different. It's going to be probably bigger, heavier. It's got to have that, right? What do you expect
Where's
or
the
anything?
battery?
Where's the
I want to
battery? Is it
know
the
how long
bud?
how long can this thing walk? Right?
Yeah.
That'll be this thing today in the battery
Yeah.
configuration it has can walk,
Yeah.
20 miles or something. I
Is it
don't know.
4680 batteries? It's
Yeah,
structural.
and then
But
how does it you need those answers like to fit it into your mental model. Oh shit, we're in trouble.
what's really cool about Tesla is whenever they show a prototype, it is very close to what they're actually going to do in production versus other companies with this fancy
Do they
prototype,
do
but
they
it's
do
not.
do they do a head fake and make us all think they're doing a physical robot first, or do they have something on your phone that you look at and
It's
talk
not
to?
going to be a virtual. You're on that. It's not going to be. No, they're a manufacturer. They're a manufacturer, and they're okay.
Oh,
We'll see. You want to make a bet?
oh, if you can put a 3D robot on your 2D phone and you're talking to it and getting
I
good
don't think.
answers, and it's doing things on your floor in augmented reality, right? Like you would see what the robot would do. Now
The,
you're
the, the
getting
only reason I agree with you there is they need millions and millions of videos of people's homes and then to be able to recognize it. So they may do something like that, like a game, just
like
so
to
they can
play.
get all the videos. Yeah.
Would you like to play a game, Dave? Yeah. We've hidden all sorts of weird stuff throughout your house and the
Would you
world.
like
You
to
can
play a
take it
game,
on a
Dave?
walk and watch it walk on the sidewalk. Watch it on your phone walking around. You'll realize they have the simulator working, and you're seeing the robot
Yeah.
walking around. Then you start believing it's going to work when they
Yeah.
physically bring a robot to you with an autonomous car with a pizza in it.
Oh, I see what you're saying. That's why I mean it can't just be a phone. It's got to be glasses, right? Like I'm opening the
You
door.
do not underestimate your phone. It's a supercomputer with nice sensors on both
Sure, but you have
sides.
to hold it. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
but
get a beer.
just
You know.
following it down the street, you're holding it anyways. I hold my phone all the time, looking at my phone when
Yeah.
I'm walking the street, right? So am I talking to my Tesla robot while I'm walking down the street and it's walking along with me? Hi, Tesla,
I see. So
right?
you have a
And
wild
you
imagination.
find
We'll
that
see.
so fucking amazing that there's a thing walking alongside you, talking to you all day long. Do you forget that it's not a physical robot?
Do you want to buy one eventually because it's so exciting and you got it, you
Oh,
named it, everything?
2024, when the autonomous cars get regulated, that thing is going to be real, coming and delivering pizza
Yeah,
to you, and you can see how it would do it,
yeah,
right?
that's
And
so
you can see
cool.
the simulator all around you too. Do you have any clue how fucking amazing the simulator is?
That's pretty amazing. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And here's one thing. I was in lane one, going 80 miles an hour, and something was on the road, a paint bucket, and
mm,
human beings were going around the paint bucket randomly, getting doing random things up ahead. And so I was in autopilot. I let the computer drive, and I wanted to see
yeah,
what it would do. Didn't do much.
yeah, right.
Now it knows about paint buckets because of my
Mm,
car. Because I
yeah,
grabbed the steering wheel to take control of it. It taught the AI to take the videos off the
yeah,
car at that moment and put it up in the learning system. And the
yeah,
learning system tagged the bucket and said, "We haven't seen a bucket in lane one before. You might think about how we're going to handle that in the
yeah,
simulator."
yeah, yeah,
And then they can try it 100,000, 100 million times, both virtually as well as physical human drivers driving the simulator
yeah,
down the street, seeing a bucket in the road,
yeah.
figuring out what to do,
But
and
that's what Kaparthi said. If he wanted to recognize buckets on a road, he just says it, and then 4 hours later, he's gonna have 10,000 videos of different buckets, and then they'll teach it how to recognize it, label it, and then move on.
and
Yeah,
and do the predictive math of where the car needs.
how it's gonna.
Because it when it sees a bucket in the road today, it does 100,000 pass instantly.
Hmm.
Boom, hundred
Hmm.
thousand.
Hmm. Which one
And
am I
then
gonna
it
do?
starts
Yeah,
evaluating the pass while you're going a few feet, right? At 80
yeah.
miles an hour, you're only going a few feet, and it's doing this. And then it figures
Probability.
out,
Yeah,
oh, that's the right path.
yeah,
That's the path that leads to the most success in
yeah,
our simulator, right? So now, if it needs to interact with a human being out in the street and it's doing jump rope, did it learn how to play jump rope the same way? And does it joke around with the kids who are playing the jump rope?
this is gonna be too cool. I'm
It,
excited.
that's the expectation, right? So
Yeah,
if it doesn't meet that expectation,
yeah, it's okay.
what do they show us in the simulator to cover for it? All right.
Well, it is AI days. Yeah,
Like you're at AI day, you're watching TV, you have no idea what is real and what's robot,
sure.
or
Yeah,
I'm sorry, what's robot and what's augmented,
yeah,
because the two can be made to look the same now
yeah. I've seen that. Yeah,
in the simulator, right?
yeah, yeah.
And if you're in the simulator, and if you're looking at it on a phone screen or looking at it at home on a TV, it's going to be hard to tell what's
Mm,
in the simulator and what's the real robot doing. And it might
mhm,
even be nice to us and say, this is the real robot, this is the simulator.
yeah,
So we can see, what did the simulator learn? How was it taught? How does it work? What's that
yeah,
data set? Because it's big. And then what does the robot, how did we get the code, the
yeah.
instruction, the thinking, the brain, the software out of the simulator and into the robot? And then
Mhm,
how much work did you have to do over there to
mhm.
fix things that didn't work right?
Yeah, I fully expect that they're gonna announce that the dojo is already live. There's no way that they're gonna do an AI day two and then say, oh, dojo's still 6 months away and a year away. They can't do that. What an embarrassment that would
It's
be.
built.
They would.
No, no. I have friends who've been inside the warehouse. It's built. They have all the machines in data center, so it's built.
Oh, it's
So
built. I know that, but he said that the day that his AI team decides to switch from the current supercomputers to the dojo, they will decide if it's better or not, and we'll need to find out if they turned it on and actually are using it
of
live
course they do.
production.
Of course they do.
You have a lot of uh,
It's
optimism
there's
for.
it's the reason Giant isn't really going to matter much, right?
Yeah, they don't have the intelligence.
The,
Yeah,
once you let a robot on your factory floor and it's seeing the world in 3D, it's seeing
yeah.
everything,
I,
and
I
then
think this is the what you said earlier is actually the answer. When I brought up the idea that Dennis Hong and the others, they created these bots, but they can't manufacture to not stand straight. Well, what they're missing is the supercomputer, the AI, to then
And the
just
data.
videos, like you said, even the photos of it. It'll feed it, and then it'll learn. And if they can land a rocket, if they can get it, they can get a car to move micrometers. They can, not easily, but they should be able to teach a bot to walk. I don't know. We'll see. It'll be
That's
very
it.
fun.
That's what I'm hearing they did. So we see in September.
Okay.
Or do they do something even more mind blowing? I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
there's limits
Well,
to what
he's our new Steve Jobs. We miss Steve
you
Jobs
know.
so much
Do they
that we have
come out
Elon now.
and sort of show a piece of the physical robot and say this is where we are with the physical? But
Hmm.
let's show you the simulator. And it's so
Hmm.
mind blowing to put it on to update the Tesla app and then get the AR simulator and talk to it all day long. And it's walking around your house and doing things. Ooh, that's going to be pretty
Well,
interesting.
you brought up some things that I haven't even
And
thought of
does it
before, and
know
I'm a
what's
wild imagination.
does it know what's on the
Okay.
roof? If I have a Tesla solar roof, does it show me that? Does it talk to
Yeah.
me about that? Does it go, hey, your batteries are full now. Thanks for the solar power. Or
Yeah. Some
hey,
people were saying that solar roof is another area that is repeatable, dangerous,
yeah.
and boring. That they would probably use a bot to help with solar roof installations. Yeah.
Now that would go across the line I'm expecting.
Hmm. Okay.
If
Yeah.
it could climb up a ladder on the side of a
Yeah.
house and start installing a Tesla solar panel, that would be
Yeah. That's not September 30th. Yeah.
and
That's
now that's my
year
new
later, 2 years later.
expectation. I'm expecting that.
No, you got don't do
You
that.
don't think so? You don't think it's ready for the solar panel?
No. This is
It'll
it's
show it
yeah,
to you in the simulator, though.
yeah. We're
That's
you're
not
right.
hard.
We'll see. So
That's
the
not a hard
way
machine to.
normally it's like this, right? Things are slow, and then all of a sudden, boom! It can do something you did not expect. But at this point, you're expecting something a little too early, maybe.
If we go from 1 plus 1 is 2,
Yeah,
you're
to
already
four
exponential. It's just small. 2 plus 2 is
exactly.
4. That's
Yeah,
exponential. 4 plus 4 is 8. That's exponential.
yeah. 4 times 4 is 16. Yeah,
By the end, by the time it does that 30 times, you have
yeah. Right.
millions.
Millions. Yeah, yeah.
Things are changing real fast.
Yeah,
He has millions now. He
yeah. I
has the
think so.
machine to ingest 2.5 gigs from every one of the Tesla cars, which is what's somewhere around 2 million cars now. And he's making how many
Right.
in Fremont a month? Like 60, 50,000 a month. New cars just in Fremont. And he has Texas and China. China's beating Fremont every month, right? They're making more and more cars over there. So, and Germany's
Nice.
coming online, right? So he's going to have nodes that are spreading out across the world, and he's going to be able to see all the data. Plus, he has Starlink over your head. You don't think he's
Yes.
putting cameras in those things? Okay. If not, there's a next planet that has a camera. So, you know, he gets
Yeah.
the government showed me taking a single photo from a military satellite
Right.
and extruding it into Yosemite National Park. One
Yeah.
photo from overhead was
Yeah.
extruded into a 3D thing you could fly through in VR.
Yeah.
And so it already has a lot of the world's data all everywhere. It's just
Oh my
they have
God.
better data if you're at the Golden Gate Bridge because there's a Tesla going across that every 10 seconds.
So
So
the satellite, Tesla satellites can actually map faster and quicker than Google. The people walking around with the backpacks.
by the way, did you see what Woz is doing in retirement?
No, what's that?
He just released an app that shows
Mm,
everything in space around the Earth in real time.
mm.
He's one of 3 people who started a new company. I forget the company name now that I'm talking
That's so cool. Yeah.
about. Yeah, it's really cool. Alex Feeling is the other partner. He's a who. Um, Alex Fielding built a robot company too, so he's a real smart dude as well.
Mm,
Let me find this satellite photo. Yeah, Leo Labs.
Leo
Leo
Labs.
Lab.
Okay.
You click on Leo Labs, and you can
Yeah.
in it shows the globe with everything flying around the globe in real time. If you watch it closely, it's
Uh,
showing you
okay. For
everything.
the satellite view. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So
Cool.
That's what Woz does on retirement. If that's what
Yeah.
he's doing on retirement, then
Exactly.
you know, you get the co-founder of Apple bored on a beach somewhere, and he starts doing shit like that with his friends. Right?
It's pretty cool. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, Robert. Everyone, please follow Robert on Twitter under his handles at Scoblelizer. And of course, you got to visit his YouTube channel at Robert Scoble. Hopefully, you learned something new. And if so, please subscribe and like. Thank you, everybody. Thank you again, Robert. This was amazing. I learned so many new things. Excited. Even I, somebody with a dreamer idea person, you've made me blow my mind a few times. So thank you again.